Since the beginning of the row over the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, Justin Trudeau has iterated two things. First, the Indian government's involvement, and second, India must cooperate in the probe. The basis of these allegations was some so called credible evidence. This whole theory seems nicely crafted unless you start investigating reality and connecting the dots. On Wednesday, Canadian PM Justin Trudeau testified before the Foreign Interference Committee, where he said that he had no hard evidence but an intelligence report that the Indian government might be behind the Nijjar's killing. His statement makes it pretty clear that he held press conferences to tarnish India's image globally without any shred of evidence, but only fabricated intelligence info he presented as credible. But there is more to it. Canadian PM used the matter as a tool to appease Khalistani voters and steer a wave of nationalism in Canada. His evidence complements the statement of India's Ministry of External Affairs, which has time and again said that Canada has failed to provide any evidence worth investigating. In fact, after recent escalation, MEA issued a statement saying, and I quote, "What we have heard today only confirms what we have been saying consistently all along. Canada has presented us no evidence whatsoever in support of the serious allegations that it has chosen to level against India and Indian diplomats. The responsibility for the damage that this cavalier behavior has caused to India-Canada relations lies with Prime Minister Trudeau alone." Unquote. The development so far reveals that Canadian allegations are baseless and are driven by just intel. But the main question is, where did that intel come from? Was it deliberately furnished? Is Trudeau a pawn in the bigger game? All answers to these questions lies in a recent interview of and loudmouth hate-monger Gurpatwant Singh Pannun, who has been used by the US as a pawn in the game, stated that he has been in direct contact with the Canadian PMO for the last 2 to 3 years. He also asserted that he furnished information regarding the alleged Indian spy network. His statement indicates that it was his information that was used by Trudeau to start this diplomatic row with India. Given the ideology of Pannu, it is quite obvious that Trudeau took Canada for a ride on the basis of information from a hate-monger extremist with no wisdom but an urge to work against India's integrity. This must also be taken into consideration that Canada time and again iterated sharing the intel with Five Eyes. While most of them remain neutral, the US has been using the issue against India for its well-known pressure tactics. The US has for long asked India to cooperate in the investigation. But the question is, when it knows that there is no hard evidence, why in the public domain it recently said that India is not cooperating instead of slamming Canada for making bilateral relations a mockery? It is only because it is the US that is at the helm of affairs in all this fiasco. It is the US that activated its pawn, Pannu, and doormat, Trudeau. The US, through Pannu, furnished the information. Trudeau, seeing the political benefits, fell for it, and the whole conspiracy theory was weaved across India. This takes us to a very important issue: why Canada and US are asking India to cooperate. Actually, putting allegations is easy, but presenting hard evidence is tough. In the same Foreign Interference Committee, Trudeau said that he wanted India to cooperate and give every info on them so that they could find the evidence against India. How on earth can someone cooperate to find non-existing evidence against themselves? India reiterated that it did not get any evidence, and Canada asking India to cooperate to get evidence is sufficient enough to say that Trudeau went to the road with only a dead end head. The problem is that by publicly holding press conferences without any shred of evidence, he has gone so far on that path that he won't be able to return. The US, on the other hand, is watching the fire in two houses from its home as usually safely.